Today we are discussing what is called psychokinesis. Psychokinesis. PK. This is covered under the topic of mind over matter. Mind over matter. Okay. Also called psychokinesis. See, there are many things which may surprise you, but if only we think somewhat differently, psychokinesis will appear less surprising and more logical and sensible. At least you will find there is a way of making sense of this. Okay. So let us look at the normal functioning. See, I am writing like this, PK. How am I writing like this? My hand is moving the pen. My hand is moving the pen. Physics can explain how force is applied by hand on pen. Okay. But then, how is hand itself moving? Surely, it is my mind operating on the hand. My mind is directing the hand, thought guiding the hand, and hand guiding the pen. Is physics saying anything about this? No. Physics is only here and not here. So, mind over matter, that is called hand, is everyday, obvious and regular phenomena. It is no surprise at all. If mind is not operating on body, then what is the use of the mind? So, mind over matter should not surprise in that sense. But this is not normally called psychokinesis. What is normally called psychokinesis is like this. Suppose mind, without the intermediation of the hand, moves the pen. So I stay here, I apply intention, and pen is writing here. That is psychokinesis. So what is psychokinesis? It is simply removing the body as the medium, as the intermediary. So normally, mind to body, body to outside. But in PK, mind to outside direct. If this is normal, it only calls for some leap to see this also is possible. That's all. If you yourself lift the table with your hands, that is not psychokinesis. But if you lift table, which is called levitation, this is psychokinesis. So you see the table moves up. Or you see the spoon bends. That is also psychokinesis. Okay. Or you make sounds on the table, raps. That also is PK. Or you play piano, pressing keys, but through mind. That is also. Okay. Now, next, you go and throttle somebody like this. Throttle somebody. With your hands. If you do it with your hands, it is not PK. On the other hand, you intend. And her throat or his throat is throttled. That is PK. Suppose you intend being throttled, yourself being throttled. To be throttled means marks on here, on throat. That also is PK. Okay. So, psychokinesis is nothing but removing the body as an intermediary process. In normal functioning, body is the intermediary. But wherever body is involved in doing something, remember, mind is involved in it. Because it is mind that is making the body to do it. Okay. Now, let us review what we have done. Who are we? We are mind plus body. We are not body alone, mind plus body. And mind impacting body. And body impacting external world. We also discussed that we are spirit plus body. we discussed that when we die, it is not that we become spirits, it is that we lose bodies. That is to say that the spirit is within us. We are spirits plus bodies. Upon death, we lose bodies. Then, we also revised or covered at many places what spirits are capable of. So, let us review what spirits are capable of. One, to see. During near-death experience, during clinical death, a person had out-of-body experience and saw something outside the hospital. What he saw was truly existing, and that was visible only when one sees it outside the body, outside the hospital. That is what is called verifiable NDE. So, that is about spirit seeing things. Spirit can see. Spirit can hear. During NDE, patient heard doctor's conversations. 2. Smell. So spirit is seeing without eyes, is hearing without ears, smelling without nose. 3 things. And then it is also capable of non-local movement. You can visit a different country without taking time. This also is reported in non-local, during NDE, non-local movement. And next, mind-to-mind communication is possible, which we discussed as perceptual insertion. And during NDE, people have reported that communication with other spirits is mind to mind, instant communication. We also discussed communication of ghost is also through perceptual insertion. So, all these things spirit can do. All these we discussed. And now we are saying that because you can equate mind with spirit, spirit can move objects. This is what PK is. This is telepathy. One more point I will cover later. Apparition creation. This we will do in it. Okay. So all these things are possible by, you can say, by spirit or by mind. Spirit is a part of us, mind is a part of us. Don't think spirit means it has to be dead. Okay. So, we will discuss how mind moves, and when mind is moving things, is it different from the way normal movement takes place? We will discuss that. Suppose some action is done by normal means and same by PK. Is there a difference? It is found. There is difference. Take for example, spoon bending. Spoon bending. Spoon bending can be done by magic, can be done by PK. One of the researchers, for example, Auerbach, can do spoon bending. He practiced it. And he says spoons bent through PK are different from spoons bent through using normal force. When normal force is applied on the spoon, it seems the crystals are crushed, distorted, ruptured. Whereas bent through PK, it appears as if they are subjected to higher heat and some kind of melting took place and the spoon bent much more naturally, though there is no heat applied here. So he says whether it is normally bent or bent through PK can be verified in a lab. That's one. Table lifting. If table is lifted normally, it is not evenly lifted. Where the force is applied, there will be more of movement, or a movement will be jerky. Whereas there are cases of lifting table through PK where table does some kind of floating as if gravitational force is not applicable, uniformly floating. Stephen Brody. Stephen Brody, who is an author of ESP and Psychokinesis, and also the author of The Limits of Influence, Psychokinesis and Philosophy of Science. Stephen Brody is an expert on psychokinesis. He says he got interested in this entire subject because when his friends were able to lift tables with so much ease, and he was shocked. He saw so many tables being lifted with ease. So the nature of force is different. One can see it in terms of the impact. take wraps. That is wraps like this on a table. Wraps produced by PK are compared with wraps produced through physical means. When wrap is produced through physical means, the amplitude of the wave is in the beginning and then it is like this through physical means. If the wrap is produced through mind, it is like this through mind. So wrap through mind is some kind of molecules being disturbed, stress accumulated and stress released. It is found it is similar to producing an earthquake. Stress produced at a molecular level, accumulated and released. Whereas wrap produced through physical means has an amplitude in the beginning and then its intensity is reduced. So wraps are different, lifting is different, bending is different. So what it means is that this is a different kind of force, mind force. Which physics doesn't include in its study. Okay. And many are able to develop these skills. And Stephen Broad says that this is not like it is not like developing PK is not like more emotion or more will. Okay, it is some kind of different functioning. It is not through will and more emotion, not like that. Maybe one example will explain. In a movie Matrix, a boy was bending the spoons. The hero watches. Hero also wants to bend the spoon. The boy tells the hero, "Don't try to bend the spoon, it is impossible. But realize the truth." And what is the truth? That spoon like that is not there. Or he says, it is not spoon that should change, but you. Something like that. So it is not that we look at a spoon with intensity it will bend. It is some kind of allowing ourselves into a state where the mind operates directly. Okay. So that is perfectly possible. So psychokinesis is perfectly possible and so many people have done it, and including telepathy. Feuerbach says, again he was a subject in a telepathic experiment. The one who is an expert in telepathy is in one room watching the video of a person who is making movements like this, in this direction, back and forth and sideways. And this person, the expert, watches a video, okay, and then he is supposed to influence the mind through the video. And this person is supposed to be influenced here. And interestingly, Auerbach himself was the subject here. He says that sometimes when I want to move forward, it appeared as if I was being told inside, move backward. That's what telepathy is. I could see that somebody is telling me as if I myself am thinking. So this is mind-to-mind communication. This has nothing to do with the dead. This what is being done by the living. Okay. But historically, these things are supposed to have been done by the dead. Here you need to know who are called physical mediums. We discussed mental mediums. Laura is a mental medium. Trance medium, where spirits enter the body and they talk directly, but using the body of the medium. Whereas in the case of physical medium, spirits enter the medium, but they do psychokinesis. They also talk, that we will discuss later, but they do psychokinesis. And physical mediums historically were doing two things: table lifting and raps on the tables. Why these raps are important? Raps were used by the dead as a way of communicating. 2 raps, yes. 1 rap, no. Louder rap, very sure. Like that. So, lifting tables, and sometimes physical medium himself going up and communicating through raps were there as a part of physical medium doing in what is called seance. Seance is a session where people sit with the physical medium to interact with the dead. So historically, during seances, the dead are supposed to prove their existence through these things. But skeptics argued that probably these things can be done without the assumption, without the dead. Or what they thought was that probably some kind of group dynamism was working to produce these effects, because these effects were widely reported and observed under highly controlled conditions. Table lifting, physical medium lifting, piano playing, typing. Many things have been done and very closely reported, observed under controlled conditions. So some skeptics thought maybe the dead are not needed to produce these effects. Then one great experiment was undertaken. A person by name George Owen, who was a faculty of Trinity College, Cambridge, along with 7 others, formed a group. They said, maybe we will create the effect that the dead are supposed to be doing in a seance. So they created a character by name Philip, and they gave him a history. Philip was supposed to exist in a very distant past. Okay, he had a wife, and also he had an affair with one woman, and the wife definitely did not like the woman, and the wife made that the concerned woman was a witch. I mean, convinced others that she was a witch, and finally she was burnt alive. After which Philip committed suicide. All this is fiction, nothing really happened. So these 8 people conjured. The title of their book is Conjuring Up Philip. So they conjured up this dead man. Okay. And then they were trying to see the effect. And you know, after certain trials, they could also hold a seance where people would come and Philip would lift tables and would answer many questions through raps. So it seems, I mean, in that way, they created an imaginary ghost but with real powers. This took place in 1972. So what they wanted to convey is that the things that are being done in a seance need not have to be done by the dead. The living are capable of doing it. And now it is a matter of common knowledge that tables can be lifted, wraps can be produced, objects can be moved without the help of the dead. Okay. So, but how did they do this? They simply used their own power of the mind, even without knowing how they are doing it. That is why some people think probably there was some spirit who was following that story, and so that spirit was doing all this. So it was that real. But that's not a serious hypothesis. But it is as good as like that. Okay. So in seances, the dead are doing things, and the skeptics argued that they need not have to be done by the dead. So now we know that the things that the dead are supposed to be doing, the living also can. But how do you know that something is being done by the dead and not by the living? That we will look into it later. But this shows that the capacities that the dead have, capacities like PK, are the capacities that the living can have through certain practice. Okay. So this kind of movement, this kind of energy giving is possible. Maybe if there is enough research on how mind is generating this movement, maybe one day we will have something equivalent to E is equal to mc square. What is this equation? It is about how much mass is needed to, or from one unit of mass, how much energy is possible. Probably one day we will be able to say that from one unit of mind, how much energy is possible. All this is simply mind as the source of energy. Okay. We look into one more thing, that is about apparition creation. Okay. Apparition creation. It is found that apparitions like misty figures can be created by mind as a part of PK. Stephen Broad studied this process, and he says if only one person is seeing an apparition, like the case we discussed with Lewis and Kreis, then it is perceptual insertion. Okay. But if a group sees an apparition, collectively an apparition is seen, he says if the group is seeing, it is not possible for the spirit to simultaneously convey with all the minds at the same time and the same effect. This is not possible. So he says, when the collective apparition is reported, then it must be a physically something visible here. Something physical is happening as a part of PK. And he says that in Asia, there are many people who actually have this practice called bilocation practice. Bilocation practice, where one person says, I am going to appear at another place and see if I am there. So apparition is created voluntarily by one person and others have to report. And amazingly, there are cases where apparition is seen taking food, asked for something to eat, and after the apparition left, it is found partly eaten. So all this is possible by the mind. So it is not true that only the dead can produce an apparition. The living are capable of. I heard one story where Ramana Maharshi's devotee was leaving the ashram and going to his place. He walked for many kilometers, and then Ramana Maharshi appeared to him as if it was very real. And Ramana Maharshi asked him, "What are you doing?" And the devotee came back. Of course, it can be devotee's hallucination. That's possible. But it can also be Ramana Maharshi sending his apparition. That is also possible. Through perceptual insertion. Okay. So definitely the people who are enlightened are freer from the limitations of the body. They have more powers. So the point is, apparitions can be created through PK. Now, The question of who can develop these skills? The people who studied these skills say that all are capable, but maybe different degrees. Different degrees. Some are somehow more open. Okay. In fact, some already have those skills, and those skills may be even working against them. In case of what is called poltergeists. Poltergeists are the people who disturb external environment through their mind power and to their disadvantage. Okay. Whatever they touch, they may break down. Things collapse, fall out of place, to all kinds of things. And that takes place when they are disturbed. When they are disturbed, their mind is doing that work. But definitely not everybody who is disturbed is having this effect. So these people are different. Poltergeist. Poltergeist is a German word for noisy ghost. A ghost that is making noise. So first it was thought to be work of the dead, but later it was realized that normal people are doing that. So sometimes when you see your mobile is not working for some reason, it may be because your mind disturbed it. You know, suppose you, out of anger, you throw your mobile, it may get damaged, right? So through mind also you can do the same thing. It's like that. Okay. And Auerbach gives one case where he got to know that one woman was complaining that one shadowy figure was throttling her. Auerbach went to examine that case, and in his presence, that woman was collapsing and complaining, and Auerbach saw the imprint on the throat. And then he said, stop, and that stopped. Then Auerbach thought that it might not be the work of any ghost, but it might be the work of herself. That is self-destructive power of the mind. And on further investigation, it was found that she was seeing a psychiatrist where she was explaining how she had been abused by her father sexually in her childhood. So, as if to punish herself from speaking out, she created a ghost, and the ghost was throttling her. The point is, it may be her imagination, but the marks and depressions are seen here, which means the power of mind can work against oneself as much as power of mind can work in favor of oneself, like in sports performance. Okay. And in certain studies on impact of telepathy on sports, it is found that some people can watch the video of the sports people and then make a sports person commit a fumble at a crucial time. Telepathy. So these are all amazing ways by which mind can influence matter. Okay. So there are many things that are important and that are sources of energy and force, but not covered in physics. Thank you.